Everything stopped overnight in a place designed for forever. Pyramiden. This was once a thriving Soviet settlement far up in the Arctic Circle, a true outpost of human ambition. It sits on Svalbard, an island territory controlled by Norway hundreds of miles north of the mainland. The Soviets built it as a model community, a perfect workers' paradise, centered around coal mining. Life there was incredibly tough, with temperatures often dropping to 25 degrees below 0 Celsius for many months on end. Yet it boasted incredible facilities for its many residents. There was an indoor swimming pool, one of the northernmost in the world, a cultural center, a library with thousands of books, and even a fully equipped hospital. A school taught children from kindergarten through high school years. Around 1,000 people called Pyramiden home during its peak in the 1980s. It was initially established by Sweden in 1910, then sold to the Soviet Union in 1927. But it truly flourished under Soviet rule from the 1930s onwards. For decades, approximately 9 million tons of coal were extracted from its rich seams, shipped out to power the Soviet economy, a monumental effort. But things changed very fast. The Soviet Union dissolved in 1991, and huge economic pressures mounted especially on such remote and expensive outposts. Maintenance costs were astronomical in this remote, harsh environment. Eventually, in 1998, the last piece of coal was mined. The decision to close came swiftly and without much warning. Everyone was told to leave, taking only what they could carry. They simply walked away from nearly everything they had built. Not just a few items, but everything. A full town left frozen in time. A snapshot of a moment. Buildings remain standing perfectly preserved by the constant cold, dry Arctic air. Chairs sit at tables in cafeterias. Books line shelves in the library. A grand piano stands ready for a player in the cultural palace, its keys silent now. Even a bust of Vladimir Lenin still overlooks the main square, a watchful presence over a silent dream. It feels like everyone just stepped out for a moment, for a short break, and will return any second. But they will not. The streets are now walked only by a few polar bears and Arctic foxes, a silent wilderness reclaiming its space. It is a striking monument to a forgotten dream, a place where human ingenuity met the raw power of the Arctic and then simply gave up its struggle. Today, very few visit this silent town. Perhaps a mere few hundred tourists each year brave the long and difficult journey by boat or snowmobile. They come to see the 1950s-era buildings and try to imagine the busy lives once lived there. This extreme isolation makes it a unique example of history preserved by ice and neglect. The population dropped from 1,000 to exactly 0 in a matter of days. All those grand plans, all those years of dedicated work, all that investment of resources and human effort, gone. The 99 residents remaining in 1998 left too. Nobody just leaves everything behind. Pyramiden. It was one of the most northern settlements in the entire world, a true testament to human grit. Imagine 1,000 residents suddenly told to abandon their lives and homes. In 1998, they did just that. It happened in October, to be exact. One single day saw the last coal extraction. After that final load, around 99 residents remained for a few more days. By March of 1999, the final 4 people left for good. That was the end of its 66 years as a fully functioning Soviet mining town. It went from bustling activity to complete silence in a blink. All those amenities, like the indoor swimming pool built in 1970 with its 25-meter length, a school for 120 students had fully stocked classrooms. 3 separate cafeterias could feed hundreds. Even a fully functional hospital with 1 operating room and x-ray machine was just left. They had a cultural center with 800 seats for performances and movies. A library held over 50,000 books. Think of the stories within those walls, all left for polar bears to ignore. The temperature often plunged to minus 25 degrees Celsius or even minus 44 degrees in winter. Yet people lived full lives there for decades. From 1936 until 1998, coal was king. 9 million tons of coal dug from the earth. That is a massive amount. The entire operation was a 24-hour-a-day enterprise with 3 shifts of workers. Workers often stayed 2 or 3 years. This isolation meant self-sufficiency was vital. They even grew some vegetables in greenhouses under artificial light. It was an artificial paradise carved out of a frozen wasteland. Today, the only sounds are the wind and the occasional animal. It is eerie to walk through those empty buildings. Desks still hold papers. Children's toys lie scattered. Calendars show the year 1998. A full bottle of Soviet champagne sits in one apartment. A 5-story hotel with 100 rooms stands empty, its doors unlocked. The bust of Vladimir Lenin, weighing 22 tons, still watches over the deserted town square, the world's most northern statue of Lenin. It is a symbol of an empire that vanished and a town that froze with it. The preservation is astounding because of the constant cold and dry air. Dust does not settle in the same way. The air is so dry, mold struggles to grow. This means the town is a truly unique time capsule, a harsh reminder of economic realities when maintaining such a distant outpost became too great. 5 years after abandonment, the town saw its first organized tourist visits. Now, a few hundred people venture here each year, mostly in the summer months by boat, and in winter by snowmobile, a journey often taking many hours. It is a place of profound quiet. A world frozen in a specific moment of the late 20th century, a socialist dream abandoned. A football sat deflated on a frozen pitch. Pyramiden. Its sudden abandonment was not unexpected for many residents. The Soviet Union collapsed in 1991. This event started a slow decline. Coal prices dropped sharply. The mining operation became too expensive. Russia stopped pouring millions of rubles into it. A town with over 1,000 residents. Imagine that decision. To simply close everything down, Arktikugol owned the mines and town. They made the final call. The last coal shipment left on October 8, 1998. 78,700 tons that year, a huge drop from its peak. The 1970s saw over 100,000 tons mined yearly. The power plant generators were turned off. Water lines were drained. This prevented pipes from bursting in the intense Arctic cold. A smart, necessary move. The final 75 inhabitants left by March of 1999, 2,000 kilometers from Moscow. This remote outpost was truly isolated. The buildings still hold many secrets. A kindergarten had tiny shoes lined up. Classrooms had books open. Pianos stood silent in the 800-seat cultural center. The 9-story apartment building called London was empty. Another called Paris 2. They housed hundreds of miners and families. The large library's shelves still held 50,477 books, many Russian, some in English, all frozen in time. The school still had children's drawings on chalkboards, all dated 1998. A grand dining hall fed 300 workers at once. It served 3 hot meals daily, 7 days a week. All activity completely gone. The heating system relied on burning coal. No coal meant no heat. Winter temperatures were brutally harsh. Minus 30 degrees Celsius was common. Minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit too. The sheer cost of running this distant operation was just too high. Arktikugol decided to consolidate operations, focusing on Barentsburg instead. Barentsburg is another Russian settlement on Spitsbergen, about 100 kilometers away. A few workers still visit Pyramiden even today, for maintenance or growing tourism efforts. The post office closed for good. Its last mail was processed in 1998. The swimming pool water was drained. It is a massive 25-meter pool. The cinema screen is still there, ready for a film that will never play again. The huge power station generator is a massive machine. It once provided all town electricity. It now stands cold and completely still. A 22-ton Vladimir Lenin bust watches over the deserted town square. It is a very heavy reminder of a lost political era. The town had 24 main buildings. Many were residential blocks, others for community services, all frozen in time. The average worker stayed 2 or 3 years. Families lived there too. The children had their own playground. Swings rusted slowly in the snow. The silence now is truly deafening, broken only by howling wind and animal sounds. It is a unique time capsule of Soviet life, completely abandoned in the high Arctic. It represents a total economic collapse for the region, a cost too great to bear. The decision saved money, but destroyed a vibrant community. A human cost that is hard to measure. It is one of the most northern ghost towns, a stark, silent monument to a bygone dream.